Welcome. In this video, we'll walk you through the process of installing Windows 11 LTSC and Linux Mint Mate into virtual disk images, and then booting them natively on your physical hardware. We'll use VHDX for Windows and VDI for Linux, leveraging tools like VMware VirtualBox, EasyBCD, and Vent. Whether you want to experiment with operating systems or keep your main system untouched, this guide will help you achieve a flexible dual boot setup. Let's start by understanding what native booting from virtual disks means and why it's a powerful option for advanced users. Before we begin, let's review the essential requirements for both installations. For Windows 11 LTSC, you'll need VMware Workstation 15X or later, a Windows 11 LTSC ISO file, administrator privileges, EasyBCD for boot menu management, and at least 32 GB of free disk space. For Linux Mint Mate, you'll need VirtualBox 6.1 or newer, the Linux Mint Mate ISO, a Ventoy-enabled USB drive, the Ventoy vDisk boot plugin, and admin rights. Make sure you have all these tools and files ready before proceeding. Main objective is to install Windows 11 LTSC into a VHDX file and Linux Mint Mate into a VDI file, then boot each natively on real hardware. For Windows, we'll use VMware to install into a VHDX, then configure Windows Boot Manager with EasyBCD. For Linux, we'll use VirtualBox to create a VDI, prepare it with Ventoy's vDisk boot plugin, and boot it using Ventoy on a USB drive. This approach keeps your main OS untouched and allows for easy backup and portability. Start with Windows 11. Open Disk Management on your host system and select Create VHD. Choose a location, set the disk type to fixed size, and allocate at least 32 GB. Make sure to select the VHDX format. Once created, the disk will appear as not initialized. Right-click to initialize it using MBR. Optionally, create and then delete a simple volume to verify the disk is working. This VHDX file will be the virtual hard disk for your Windows installation. Next, launch VMware Workstation as administrator. Create a new virtual machine with compatibility set to Workstation 15X, using legacy BIOS and Windows 11 as the OS type. Do not create a new virtual disk. Instead, add a hard disk and select Use a physical disk. Browse to your mounted VHDX file and confirm the configuration. Running VMware as administrator is crucial here to ensure it can access the VHDX. Mount your Windows 11 LTSC ISO in VMware and boot the virtual machine. Proceed with the installation as you would on a regular PC, selecting the VHDX drive as the target. The setup will treat the VHDX as a normal disk. After installation completes, shut down the VM. Your Windows 11 system is now fully installed inside the VHDX file, ready for native boot. Boot back into your main Windows system. Open EasyBCD as administrator. Add a new boot entry by selecting Disk Image VHD, then provide the name and path to your VHDX file. Set the mode to run from disk. Click Add Entry, Save, and Exit. This step adds your Windows 11 VHDX as a boot option in the Windows Boot Manager, allowing you to select it at startup. Now reboot your computer. The Windows Boot Manager will appear showing the new VHD entry. Select Windows 11 LTSC VHDX to boot directly from the VHDX file. On first boot, Windows will detect your hardware and install necessary drivers just like a fresh installation. You're now running Windows 11 natively from a virtual hard disk with all the benefits of a clean install. Few important notes: this method uses native VHD boot, not virtualization, so you get full hardware access. You can mount or unmount the VHDX in disk management to copy files as needed. Deleting the EasyBCD entry won't affect your host system. Always keep a backup of your VHDX file as it contains your entire Windows installation and data. You can further enhance your Windows VHDX setup. Disabling fast startup can prevent file system corruption during sudden power loss. You can enable or disable hibernation using PowerShell commands. If you need to use the disk with ISCSI or IPXE, convert the VHDX to VHD using PowerShell. These tweaks help maintain system stability and compatibility. Let's move on to Linux Mint Mate. Open VirtualBox and click New to create a new virtual machine. Name it Linux Mint Mate, set the type to Linux and version to Ubuntu 64-bit. Assign at least 2 GB of RAM and 2 processor cores for smooth performance. This VM will serve as the base for your portable Linux installation. Setting up the VM, choose to create a new virtual hard disk now. Select VDI VirtualBox disk image as the file type, fixed size for better performance, and allocate at least 32 GB. Place the file in a convenient location such as D/VM/Mint VDI. Adjust system settings, use ICH9 chipset, USB tablet pointing device, legacy BIOS mode, and SATA AHCI storage controller. Mount the Linux Mint ISO under the VM's optical drive. Start the VM and boot into the Linux Mint installer. Proceed with a standard installation, partitioning the full 32 GB disk and creating your user account. Once installation is complete, shut down the VM. Your Linux Mint system is now installed inside the VDI file, ready for further configuration. Start the VM and boot into your installed Linux Mint system. Download the Ventoy Linux vDisk boot plugin VToyboot from the official Vent site. Extract the tar.gz file, open a terminal in that folder, and run sudo sh vtoyboot sh. This script installs the necessary components to make your Linux Mint VDI compatible with Ventoy's vDisk boot feature. Once done, shut down the VM completely. Locate your Mint VDI file and rename it to Mint VDI Vtoy to mark it as vDisk bootready. Move or copy this file to a location where you can easily access it for Ventoy's vLink feature. This step ensures Ventoy recognizes your Linux Mint image as compatible for native boot. Plug in your Vent-enabled USB drive and open the Ventoy tool. Use the VLink feature to create a VLNK file that points to your Mint, VDI, Ventoy image. The VLNK file acts as a shortcut telling Ventoy where to find your Linux Mint disk image. Copy this file to the root directory of your Ventoy USB drive. Insert your Ventoy USB drive into the target computer and boot from USB in legacy BIOS mode. The Ventoy menu will appear. Select the Mint, VDI, Ventoy VLNK entry or browse to it. Vent will boot Linux Mint directly from your Ventoy image using the vDisk boot plugin. You're now running your full Linux Mint installation natively with direct access to your hardware. This method runs Linux Mint on physical hardware using Ventoy's kernel and vDisk integration, not virtualization. The Ventoy file marks your disk image as vDisk boot ready, while the file acts as a shortcut for Vent. You can update your OS by booting back into VirtualBox, then return to native boot on real hardware whenever needed. Ventoy's vDisk boot supports a range of Linux distributions including Ubuntu, Debian, Linux Mint, Fedora, and OpenSUSE. This flexibility allows you to experiment with different systems, update them in VirtualBox, and boot them natively as needed. It's a powerful way to manage multiple OS environments without complex partitioning. Always keep backups of your VHDX and VDI files. These files contain your entire operating systems and data. If you ever need to restore or migrate your setup, simply copy the backup files to a new location. Regular backups ensure you can recover from accidental deletions or hardware failures without losing your customized environments. You've now learned how to install Windows 11 LTSC and Linux Mint made into virtual disk images and boot them natively on real hardware. This method offers flexibility, portability, and safety for your operating systems. Experiment with different setups, keep your main system untouched, and enjoy the benefits of native performance. Thanks for watching and happy computing.